What if unrelated events, spread across time and distance, somehow aligned perfectly? What if the universe itself was weaving together an invisible thread, pulling moments closer in ways that seem far too eerie to be mere coincidence? There is a phenomenon that has left countless minds baffled. These are not just random occurrences. These are eerie, synchronized events. In April of 1912, the world was shaken by the sinking of the Titanic, a ship once deemed unsinkable. More than 1,500 souls lost to the icy grip of the North Atlantic. But what if I told you this tragedy had already been predicted in chilling detail? 14 years before the Titanic disaster, a novella was published, titled Futility, written by Morgan Robertson. The book tells the story of a massive ocean liner named Titan, a ship considered unsinkable. But in the dead of night, it too strikes an iceberg and sinks. Both ships were nearly the same size. Both hit icebergs in April, and both carried too few lifeboats to save their passengers. As if Robertson had glimpsed into the future. This connection between fiction and reality is far too aligned to be ignored. Coincidence? Or something else? Two presidents, two assassinations, 100 years apart. Yet the echoes between the lives and deaths of Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy are enough to make you shiver. Both men were elected to the presidency exactly 100 years apart. Lincoln in 1860, Kennedy in 1960. Both were succeeded by men named Johnson, born a century apart. But it doesn't end there. Lincoln's assassin, John Wilkes Booth, shot him in a theater and fled to a warehouse. Kennedy's assassin, Lee Harvey Oswald, shot him from a warehouse and fled to a theater. The connections seem to weave an eerie web, binding these two men in history. But why? Why these men? Why these lives, connected across time in such strange synchronicity? For most people, surviving one shipwreck is enough to last a lifetime. But for Violet Jessop, 3 near-fatal disasters awaited her, all aboard ships from the same fleet. Violet was aboard the Olympic when it collided with a warship in 1911. She survived. Then she boarded the Titanic in 1912, and again survived its tragic sinking. And finally, she found herself on the Britannic in 1916, when it was struck by a mine, sinking into the depths. 3 ships, 3 disasters, 1 woman. Some call her lucky, but perhaps her survival was more than luck. Perhaps Violet was meant to survive, her life stitched into a larger, unexplainable pattern, a synchronized fate, intertwined with tragedy. Now let's step into the realm of invention, where minds across the world seem to synchronize in a way that defies logic. Throughout history, there have been countless moments where 2, sometimes more, individuals arrive at the same idea, at the same time, completely unaware of each other. Take the telephone, for example. In 1876, 2 men, Alexander Graham Bell and Elisha Gray, both filed patents for a working telephone on the very same day. Or Isaac Newton and Gottfried Leibniz, who simultaneously developed calculus, unaware that the other was doing the same. What causes this? Some would say it's just how the human mind works. But could it be something deeper? Could there be an unseen force that pulls our thoughts together, drawing people toward the same ideas, in perfect, eerie synchronization? And then, there are cases like the Jim twins, separated at birth and adopted by different families. Jim Lewis and Jim Springer lived completely separate lives. until they were reunited in their 30s, only to discover their lives had unfolded almost identically. Both men were named Jim by their adoptive families. Both had married women named Linda, divorced, and remarried women named Betty. They named their sons James Allen, and both owned dogs named Toy, as if some cosmic hand had guided their lives down the same path, step by step. Was this simply a bizarre coincidence, or were these twin lives tied together by something far more mysterious? All around history, time and time again, we've seen moments that defy explanation, events that align, lives that echo each other, and ideas that seem to rise from the ether in perfect unison. Are these mere coincidences? Or is there something hidden in the fabric of the universe itself? Something that ties moments together in ways we may never fully understand? The truth is, the answer may always be just out of reach. But one thing is certain. When the universe speaks in these strange, synchronized events, we can't help but listen. And remember, just because you don't notice it, doesn't mean it isn't happening. Perhaps the next time you glance at your clock, it will show a time you've already seen. Or the same stranger will pass you twice in one day. When those moments come, and they will, you might wonder if something has been quietly synchronizing your life too. Sweet dreams, if you dare. Good night.